Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks that you can use to create a VFR flight without using any of the fancy third-party applications such as like Navigraph. Today we're going to do everything with only freeware software and imagery that you can get and store completely free of charge. So sit tight, grab a drink, because here we go. All right, so VFR flight can be really challenging for a lot of people in the aspect of, having the right software, having the charts available, knowing the frequencies, knowing the scenery, especially when flying in an area that you're unfamiliar with. So today we're going to walk through a couple of steps that I used to use a long time ago on how to fly in areas that you're unfamiliar with and still enjoy the VFR experience. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be taking a look at SkyVector. SkyVector is extremely handy when starting out your flight plan, determining where you want to go and where from. So what I've got here is I already created a flight plan. We're going to be going from Dansville, New York, over here just to this little Penyan airport, just a few miles away. Nothing too crazy. We're not going that far, but it's just for example purposes. Now, obviously you can plot your flight, and one of the things that I highly recommend you guys grab, this is a super handy screenshot tool called GreenShot. And we'll just come up here. We'll go to greenshot.org here. Let me turn this filter off so you guys can see everything. And you hit download now. And then when you install it, once it's running, all you have to do is hit your print screen button. And it brings up this crosshair that hopefully you guys can see coming across the screen. But it brings up a crosshair essentially. You drag the area that you want. Okay, then you can hit either open an image editor, which is the really handy part, copy to clipboard, or you can do a save as. I recommend doing an open an image editor. And it'll bring up something that looks like this. And from here, you can add text boxes if you want. You can do arrows. You can change the size and color of everything if you wish. Draw boxes, etc. All the same stuff that you would see in some other editing software, but it makes it really handy for creating some really cool and informational screenshots for you, especially when doing your VFR flight planning. So let's close this. We obviously don't want to save that, but I do recommend you guys grab this. It's completely free again, and it will be very, very handy for you. So now that we have, and this is a perfect example of where this is going to come in handy. I can't zoom in any further than this on my web browser. Even if I try to use the display zoom, right? All I can do is zoom back out. We don't want to. So what I can do though, is I can grab this. And again, I'm going to grab a big screenshot. And let's check out a couple of things here. Let's go to open an image editor. And for example, we can say, we can point out a couple of points of interest. For example, like this guy right here. Let me bring that size back down again. Okay, so here we have some windmills. Okay, so we can point those out. All right, so we know to look for those there. Oops, wrong button. Let me grab and just click on the arrow, gets rid of that. You can click on the box, we can resize it. All right, and then let's see here. This, I believe, is a tower. We can go here and we can find the... There it was a... What's the word I'm looking for? A legend that tells us what each of these icons mean. Maybe that wasn't on here. But anyway, I believe these are towers, is what these are. Like electrical towers, water towers, something like that. So we can watch for that. Okay, you can mark little mark points here, or you can write, left at the lake, if you wanted to put notes in here. But this is pretty handy. And the nice thing is that once you save this, so we can do file, save as, right? And let's just do, yeah, we can save it in here. Why not? And then when I open that picture, give me a second here. obviously much, much larger, and you are free, to zoom in and out. And you can see you can get way down on there now. So that's tip number 1. Take your own screenshots, and then once you create a screenshot, you can then zoom in much further. So like you can see, we got some more windmills down here. Again, I believe these are high towers or mountain ranges. You also get your altitude numbers up here. So it really helps to be able to get that screenshot of your flight route and then be able to zoom in on the picture itself. So that's step number 1. Okay, now the next thing would be is let's get an aerial image of it that we can actually use. So let's go like Bing Maps, okay? And let's search for, let's get these ads out of here. Kilo Delta Sierra Victor, that's where we're flying out of today. Okay, so we're gonna grab that. It's gonna take us over there. Again, clear the ads. Where would life be without ads? And let's go to the aerial view. And now we have our airport, right? So this is for those of you, who maybe don't have the charts, who don't know what the taxiway looks like. Okay, we know the parking zone's over here. So as long as you know you're over here, you know the general layout of the airport. And so we can do the same thing again, right? And grab a screenshot again. Give that a copy. Let's open it back up in the image editor again. Again, you can already see the runways, things like that, but if you wanted to, you could title them as parking, etc. And you can go File, Save As again, and let's just drop it in there. And same game. If we bring it up, now we can hit Control, use your mouse wheel, and you can zoom in and out if there's specific things that you're looking for, right? So now, since we discovered that part, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the flight route. We know where we're going for. We know we're expecting some windmills, but we can start using the satellite imagery to sort of get a better idea of what we're looking for. Now, I don't know that I would try to sit here and try to find windmills or anything like that, but we can find like the major spots. Like so, here is a lake that I believe we're looking for. Okay, so we can maybe grab that. That'd probably be helpful. Maybe from that perspective, or actually it might be a larger one. Let's go back to our SkyVector. Let's zoom on down. It's way over here. And so, yep, that is our lake. So let's come back over here to Bing Maps. And let's find that lake shape. And it should be. And there it is. There's our airport right there that we're looking for. So let's grab that and maybe come in a little bit closer. And again, I always do open an image editor in case there is something that I want to add to it. But for this one, again, easy one to just, oops, we don't want to do that. Just give it a different name here. And we can throw that in there. Okay, and then now that we know what we're looking for up in the sky, we can get an idea of what our lake will look like. Let's grab that. And this one we'll just do save as. I'm not going to add anything to that. And then let's see if we can determine now, based on that information, where our windmills were. So we had just off the center here, or the tail end here, not the center. We should have just to the west our windmills. So let's see if we can't zoom on down a little bit. And like I said, I don't know that I would spend too much time looking for windmills on satellite imagery, but maybe we'll get lucky. But the other advantage here is that you can possibly find other landmarks that will stand out to you. This is the sole advantage to Microsoft Flight Simulator over anybody else, is this satellite imagery. It gives us way more options than what we had available. And actually, there's our windmills right there. Okay, so they're a little hard to see, so let's try to zoom in and get a larger picture here. But there's our windmills. Now we know what to look for. We know relatively the position they're looking at. And for this one, you know, you might want to draw a box. Okay, identifying the windmills. And it looks like there's only 3 of them there. But there we go. Okay, so that gives us a ton of information that we didn't have before. And what we can do too is take a couple of aerial shots. So we have that one first, but let's zoom out a little bit and get a larger picture here. So we have another image of where they were. I'm going to open these up in image editor again, and then I'm going to pull this off screen. I'm going to zoom back down to them. Assuming that we can find them again because I moved the map. Let's take a look at our previous picture. So Preston, Brown Hill Road. There's Brown Hill Road. Let's follow it where it meets Preston. There's Preston, there's our windmills. So again, now I'm going to watch myself a little bit more carefully this time. And so we know they're just above Greensville. So we can do this. Oh, where was it? There we go. Right about there is where the windmills are. So again, these are just real quick, dirty ways to help you figure out some points of interest while you're taking your flight without having a whole lot of forethought to everything between that, right? Okay, so just a quick example there. So let's just save that. And then now let's take a look at the next step, right? Obviously, we're going to need some charts. So if you wanted to find your departure charts, we can go back to SkyVector here. And let's go to click on the name there, and here's all of our information. Okay, from here, you can take a screenshot of all of this information. Okay, if you wanted to copy the comms or things like that, you would take a screenshot of it. But let's see if we can get down to the departure plates. So let's see here. That's takeoff minimums, instrument. There's the approach plates if you wanted to use the approach plates. So we can click on that. You could capture that if you wanted to. We'll probably do that for the arrival runway. Looks like departure isn't something to be too concerned about in regards to the plates, as they're not listed here. Let's see what this one is. That's the VFR chart. Takes us back to where we were. Let's just go to the charts here. So if we want to get really in deep with it, we go KDSV departure chart. And it looks like that's all it had. So it doesn't look like there was too much else to be concerned with that one. But let's find the arrival plates for our arrival runway. So let's go back over here. Oh, I didn't want airports. Oh well. There we go. That's what I wanted. And here we go. Okay, and then here's the arrival charts. So it tells us how to come in for the arrival. So if you wanted to grab that, you could do the same thing. Take your screenshot. If you wanted to add any information, you could do that. But in this case, we can just hit File Save. Oops, dang it, copied that again. And then now, again, if you needed it, You have that. Now you could copy all these images over to your cell phone, to a tablet, if you don't have a second monitor or anything like that. And it makes it really, really handy when doing a VFR flight to have all of these available. You know, you could take, for example, where's our, there it is. You know, we could be looking for like this. This is another handy one. That's some pretty Potter Swamp. So we could take that. That coloration is going to stand out quite a bit. We'll just copy that one in. And then we know at the point that we reach there, we could just turn in, or we could just follow the water in, however you guys want to do it. But anyway, so this was a quick video. I just wanted to show you guys a couple of tips and tricks that you can use to help with your VFR flight planning, especially in areas that you don't know. And that's what makes this simulator so cool, is it gives us the option to fly in areas that we would maybe never in a lifetime get a chance to go fly over. And one of the more challenging parts about that is determining, well, what am I going to use for my VFR references? And between Bing Maps and Google Maps and all the different imagery that we have available to us, and then having the satellite photogrammetry inside the simulator, it makes it much, much easier to identify at least some of the larger landmarks that are available. Maybe not all of them are in the area. It all depends. So you may have to look for larger landmarks in some areas, such as mountains, lakes, things like that, things that are going to definitely be there. But in the more refined areas, you can certainly find things like windmills, water tanks, etc. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know what the tips and tricks you guys use for your VFR flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And as always, folks, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.